Ladies and gentlemen, Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei tabled a motion in the Senate on Monday, May 4th, 2026, seeking to strip former President Uhuru Kenyatta of his retirement benefit. I want us to look at this carefully, and then I want to show you something that happened inside Ruto's camp that nobody is talking about enough. So before we get into Cherargei, let's start with Belgut MP Nelson Koech. Koech was speaking at a funeral service in Chemororoch village in Kericho County on Wednesday, May 7th, 2026. He came out openly against the move to strip Uhuru of his retirement benefit. He says the retirement benefits of former presidents are anchored in the Constitution and should not be used as a political weapon whenever leaders disagree politically. He urged politicians to embrace fairness and reconciliation, warning against setting dangerous precedents that could later affect other leaders once they leave office. So Nelson Koech is a Kenya Kwanza allied legislature. Samson Cherargei is also a Kenya Kwanza allied legislature. These are men from the same political house, and they are in public, openly contradicting with each other on the same issue in the same week. That is not a small crack. That is a fracture line inside the ruling coalition. And it tells you that Cherargei's motion does not have a unanimous support, even among Ruto's own allies. So Cherargei wants a parliament to revoke, reallocate, or vary the budget relating to Uhuru Kenyatta's retirement benefit. He wants any recovery funds redirected to serve the welfare of Kenyans. The motion was introduced on Monday, May 4th, 2026, days after Uhuru Kenyatta addressed Jubilee delegates in Narok by phone, accused President William Ruto of trying to gang him and declare he will not be silent. The sequence is everything. Uhuru speaks publicly against the administration. Cherargei tables a motion to cut his benefit. That is not a coincidence. That is a response, and a deliberate one. This motion is politically intimidation dressed as legislative process. The message being sent to Uhuru is direct. Continue opposing to this administration carries a personal financial cost. The fact that it cannot succeed constitutionally does not reduce its intended effect. A pressure does not require a legal pathway to work. Rarieda, Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo, one of the framers of Kenya's 2010 Constitution, spoke on Wednesday, May 6, 2026. He said the motion is idle and not worth of discussion. Article 151 subsection 3 of the Constitution protects a retired president's benefit. They cannot be altered to his disadvantage during his lifetime. That clause was deliberately inserted during the constitutional making process. It is not an oversight, it is a firewall. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna went further. He says the motion is dead on arrival. Scrapping constitutional entrenched benefit cannot be done through a Senate motion. It would require a referendum. He also pointed out that the Senate has no authority to discuss funding beyond county allocations. So Cherargei's motion falls on two separate constitutional grounds simultaneously. Cherargei tables a motion that falls outside the Senate's own mandate, targets a benefit protected by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and would require a referendum to change that benefit. That is a motion built to make a noise, not law. The responses to this motion did not come only from the opposition. Belgut MP Nelson Koech is a Kenya Kwanza figure. Atiende Amolo come from a different political tradition. Edwin Sifuna leads the ODM wing of the Azimio. And then there is Rigathi Gachagua, the former impeached deputy president and DCP leader, who also came out publicly to defend Uhuru, saying it is his duty to protect him from attacks of this nature, and that a future government will reinstate Uhuru's benefit in full if they are ever touched. So Koech, Amolo, Sifuna, and Gachagua on the same side of the argument in the same week. These are people from completely different political tradition. What is bringing them together is a common reaction to how Kenya Kwanza is handling Uhuru Kenyatta. Every attack on Uhuru from inside the ruling administration pushes him further towards the opposition coalition. So the 2027 may be taking shape, and every overreach, like a constitutional impossible Senate motion, gives that coalition architect of shared cause to rally around publicly. So Cherargei motion has exposed the split inside Kenya Kwanza, handed the opposition a unified moment and accelerated the political realignment it was designed to suppress. Here is the bottom line. Cherargei motion will not pass. The Constitution will not allow it, but it has already succeeded in bringing the one thing Ruto's administration cannot afford right now, making Uhuru Kenyatta a sympathetic figure and giving his defense on both sides of the highs a reason